Welcome to The Bench Has Spoken, a Survivor podcast from Bench Points Network.
We are longtime friends and longtime Survivor fans, and today we're going to review and break down season 49, episode 5.
We are on location today in my living room because the Bench Points podcast is taking up all of our recording space and equipment.
Thank you, Bench Points, for your support.
So here we are, season 49, episode 5. Do you want to do a recap? Would you like me to do a recap? What would you?
You start off with a recap.
Okay.
I did the recap. I think you'll be a great recapper this week.
So thank you. This was an interesting episode because it felt very, very slow, but there was also a lot going on. So we start out with a very extensive bit on the beaches of Hannah and Kella, where we're just kind of seeing the strategizing and the bonding. We're seeing a lot of Sage waiting for everyone to see Shannon's true colors. And then people do see them, which is nice. And then we go into an individual journey challenge where MC and Nate have the opportunity to win an advantage and risk their votes. That takes an interesting turn in my opinion. We can come back to that. And then we go into the challenge where we see Kella once again come in, out as the victors, followed by some confusing strategizing as to who will be voted out, and a tribal council where once again everybody's just laying their cards on the table and acting like they don't have any reason to hide any of what they're doing from each other. And then we see Jason say adios.
Yeah, it's a fact. I think that one thing that we could spend some time chatting about towards the beginning of the episode, and I think it was really the meat of the episode, was Sage versus Shannon. A lot of people seem to be really buttered up and loved on and appreciated by Shannon, and I think Shannon is a natural people person. I think she's a natural kind of person that draws people into her, which is a benefit, but I do think she's was trying to play everybody all at one time. And I think you and I both agree in the fact that Sage was very smart because she was quiet until she had the right audience at the right time. Because there are multiple times she could have just blurted out, Shannon's playing you, but she would have made herself look paranoid. She would have made herself look like a victim. She would have made herself out to, like, in a negative light. So the fact that she waited until the right time to say something, I was really impressed by that.
I agree. I disagree with you only on one thing. I feel like Shannon thinks she's a lot more successful with people than she actually is, and I'd be very curious to see what her real life situation is with friends and people around her, like if people feel like she's fake, or maybe this is just the character she's choosing to play on Survivor and she's not this intense or desperate to try to find connection with people in real life. Because I feel like from go, it's come off as very disingenuous. So I'd be very surprised that anyone fell for it. It seems only Christina really did.
I was suspicious there for Alex because I thought Alex had like bought it hook, line, and sinker. He seems like, I like Alex, but he seems like a softie. He seems like somebody that would be like, oh, you like me? Okay.
Which is unexpected for me because I think the first couple of episodes, I thought he was going to be a jerk.
Yeah,
it took me a long time to think, oh my gosh, he's actually like really great. And if he made it toward the end, I'd be really happy because he seems like a nice person.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit excited but disappointed because I went into this episode really hoping to see Sage come in and really shake things up and get people to turn on Shannon, and I really don't feel like she had to. I feel like people saw it on their own and she just happened to agree with them. So then I think what you said about she really laid low and waited for the right time to express that, I think was smart. But I don't think it really won her any points in terms of strategizing. I will say though that her choosing to let everybody know about Rizzo and his idol was super strategic and well played in my opinion. But I'm interested to see now like how this plays out for her.
Yeah, me too. I think the idol thing was a really tricky piece. And I like that she like called it out. That way she's like, I know that Shannon's playing everybody. And not only that, I've got like some additional leverage that I'm going to throw out there. So I think that made her like much more safe than she was. I don't think she was necessarily on the chopping block to begin with. Like it made it seem, do you think?
No, yeah. I think that was just so they had something interesting to put in the previews, honestly.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I was really hoping they would go to tribal council because regardless, I thought that tribe has been dealt a really plush hand. In general, the players on that tribe have been dealt a very plush hand throughout the season so far. So I was ready for them to experience some stress.
You're in my shot! Just wanted to take the opportunity to be that lady from
Sam's
California.
acting like Juwan in the background. But I think that tribe has been dealt a very plush hand. And I think that's my issue with not only this episode, but this season is like the harsh or the challenging parts of the season or each episode is the same people every single time. So we know a handful of people very, very well. And there are so many people that I feel like we just haven't got the opportunity to know or get invested in yet. And it's getting to the point where we're closer and closer to the merge. And by the time the merge comes, I want to know these people and know who I want to be rooting for. And I just am not there yet.
I agree. And I mean, we have to bring it back to our old forgotten friend, Sophie S. Like, she still has literally done nothing. My only note for her this entire episode was I was impressed with the hat that she made.
Yeah.
That's pretty clutch. And if I'm ever on Survivor, I'm going to steal that idea.
She made, just for anybody who didn't catch it, she made a hat out of her buff and a leaf, which was great. They did let her talk this episode. So
briefly, yes. There's a person, oh gosh, I can't remember who, on Twitter who shows stats for confessionals. It might just be like Survivor stats or something. I'd love to see her count. I bet she has the fewest of anyone there. I mean, this might have been her first.
Yeah. I'm not sure what value she adds. And honestly, if she wasn't there next episode, nobody would notice.
It'd be like, man, Sophie's been recast.
Sophie who? Yeah.
I mean, I know more about the Secret than I know about Sophie at this point.
Yeah.
I want to, before we get too far away from it, talk about Shannon's worst idea in the history of Survivor, which was to wake someone up in the middle of the night to ask them if they thought it would be a good idea to make sure that 2 people from each tribe went into the merge. Like, on what planet? Am I just completely not thinking about this clearly? How is that a good idea? Why would anyone go along with it? And how would that be beneficial when you get to the merge?
Yeah. It wouldn't be beneficial, and 2, you have no control over that. She needs to focus on what she has control over, which is nothing at this point. But her center of influence is her tribe. You can't control or determine or whatever anybody else's tribe is doing. That's like 10 steps down the road. You need to be thinking now and 1 or 2 steps down the road. That was like not even necessary. I agree with you. I don't think that was even a necessary comment to make, especially to wake somebody up in the middle of the night to say that. Stephen was like, okay, like, sure. I think Shannon's trying to, and I think part of it's genuine and part of it's not. I think part of it's her personality, but her gameplay piece, when she's like putting on her game face, it's like, too many open promises.
Agreed. Well, how about, should we turn to Hina and the Savannah situation?
Savannah versus Juwan? Is that what the
Savannah
is?
versus the world.
Yeah.
Maybe Savannah's my new Jake. I'm going to hate on her for a little bit.
Yeah,
and
please.
If Savannah ever were to hear any of this, I want you to know it's not a personal thing. I'm sure you're a great person. It's just what's coming across my TV screen is really getting on my nerves. It feels like every time there's even a minor inconvenience or something that doesn't go exactly as she thinks it should in life, suddenly that person needs to go, or that person is someone who needs to be attacked or really... Is that your back? someone that needs to be like investigated because they're suspicious and need to be voted out. I mean, we saw it with Juwan time and time again. We saw it with Matt last episode because has a history in finance and now works as a baggage handler. Okay.
Yeah, well, she made it sound like he was like on the FBI and on the Secret Service, and I know we've said it in every single episode, Savannah, nobody cares you're a reporter. But I am proud that by episode 5, she didn't mention the fact that she was a reporter one time. So she has shown growth.
This is true.
There is a little bit of
I have to give credit where credit's due. I feel like Savannah is an extreme sensationalist. Maybe that's what made her a good reporter, or maybe that's why she's a former reporter. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that just really bothered me. I feel like she's just looking for a reason to be mad at somebody and throw them under the bus. And I find it interesting that she is in a leadership position seemingly unchecked. Like no one else is stepping up. No one is questioning her. And maybe that'll come. But I just don't understand where that originates unless it's just that she's like got a stern, strong voice and people are falling in line because they felt like it was easy.
And she's confident. And I feel the same way about Nate, too, is I don't think he's earned his leadership. Savannah and Nate specifically, I don't think they've earned their leadership positions, but they very clearly have a power over the tribe. I do want to go back to the Savannah versus Juwan situation just for a second. I think you're totally right that she is playing the victim. And like, to be a victim, somebody has to be targeting you. I don't think he picked up her backpack on purpose and put sticks in it. I don't think he picked up her water bottle on purpose and put sticks in it. I think he's careless? Probably. But what man isn't? Especially like a 20-something-year-old man. And then when Juwan was... Did anybody else notice when Juwan was like laying down on the bamboo alone and Sophie and Savannah came over and started talking, and then Savannah got pissed off because Juwan was near them? Girl, you went in his space.
Right?
He was napping. I don't know. I think it's Savannah's.
She reminds me of one of those people who would be like recording themselves working out and then get mad if somebody walked in their shot.
Yeah.
Like, get over yourself.
I think it's Savannah's world and everybody else is just living in it. And to be fair, it's working out really, really well for her. So maybe she's got it figured out. But her like attacking Juwan, for some reason I feel protective of him, and I think she should leave him alone.
And especially this episode, I feel Juwan made a lot of progress in terms of being a strong player. I mean, not only did we see him kind of taking a leadership role in the challenge and seeming to do really well, like
big leadership role. Since we mentioned it, do you want to talk about the challenge?
Sure.
Do you have any initial thoughts on the challenge? This episode?
So I liked the challenge. Speaking of the challenge, I enjoyed the fact that there was no puzzle involvement. It felt like OG Survivor, just kind of needing to, nut up and... I shouldn't say.
No, you should. No, I agree with you.
Use your strength and might and...
No, I agree. I have lots of thoughts on the challenge. I agree. I'm glad it was no puzzle. I'm glad it was like brute force. You do it or you don't. But I thought it was funny after Nate had carried... We need to go back to the adventure challenge after this. But Nate had spent all day carrying 100 sandbags back and forth. And when it came time to set somebody out, Christina said, me. Sat on the bench and we were cracking up because it sounded like she was at a middle school baseball game and she was like, let's go blue team, let's go, which is great, and that's her being a good teammate. But Christina, I'm sure she's a sweetheart and I'm sure she's so fun to be around, but you bring no skills, no physical skills. You're scared of bugs, you're scared of birds, you're scared of dirt, you can't make fire. I'm just not certain what her role is there besides to blindly follow Shannon around.
Yeah, I was like not convinced at all, even after a confessional, that she is going to be able to accept that she shouldn't trust Shannon.
Right.
I think that she's going to end up flipping some sort of Shannon-led situation. I don't think it's going to be successful for either of them, but I think you could see it in her face, like, no, Shannon's my leader.
Right. Like she can't have an original thought. She's like, I don't
She
know.
knows what I'm most likely to be taken in by a cult.
Yeah, and she was. And she actually, someone needs to check in on her because the season should be over now. We're concerned about you, sister. So I thought that was funny, but Mary was talking about Juwan earlier, but he did, when it came time, like their team was not doing well. They were falling behind, all these things. He was like, no, pick it up. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And he like led the charge. He was being confident and like direct.
Drill sergeant.
Yeah, like a drill sergeant. And I thought, we both said, I didn't think he had it in
like
him.
a new man.
Yeah.
That, and the other thing I was thinking about was when it came time to select someone to go on the journey, he was a little sneaky, I was like a little bit like taken aback, and I don't know if I really liked it, but I mean, good for him for coming up with a way to make sure that the person he wanted to go went, or the person he didn't want to go stayed behind more accurately.
Yeah, that's the moves like that. I feel kind of bittersweet about because they're fantastic. But when is it going to be appropriate for him to tell everybody about that and get the credit he needs to, if he makes it to the end, to be like, no, I did make moves, even though they were early on, even though they were seemingly small, they made a big difference in how the game as a whole went.
And I think that he brings that up immediately after this tribal council.
I hope he does,
because that's when it's going to be an effective story,
because nobody wanted Jason there,
right? Like he had an opportunity to win an advantage, and Juwan literally took it away from him. How did you feel about the journey?
I felt like I like the journey. We're big MC fans. If you don't know that, now you know. Big MC fans. I think she's wonderful. I think she's lovely. I think that if MC wouldn't have been there, like if anybody else besides MC and maybe Alex would have been there, the challenge would not have gotten done. Wouldn't have gotten done. Nate and anybody else, it would not have gotten done. But I think that he knew he couldn't give up because she wasn't going to give up.
Right.
And I'm disappointed in the fact that she didn't go back out and search for the advantage once she realized that they had extra time. But I also cannot imagine, I'm certain she carried more bags than he did.
Yeah, I would like to see that breakdown. Maybe they'll talk about it on the On Fire podcast, like how many bags MC moved compared to Alex.
Well, she's just a beast.
I mean, Nate.
I could see her being like, no, we're like that. I think she did what she went there to do. But also, I was interested, after it was all over, they both went back to their tribes and were like, okay, yeah, so there was no upside really. And the tribes were just like, okay.
Yeah, this journey was very interesting to me, not only because we got to see MC go into beast mode again, but I didn't understand the just immediately giving up on the idea of getting an advantage with that much time. And when they showed her, when she was like, oh, I came back and I saw there was so much time left, I thought for sure she would say, you know, screw this, I'm gonna go find that advantage. Because obviously he's up to something, or like, why are we being in any way lenient or willing to give something up for somebody else, especially someone who she doesn't know, not on her tribe, whatever. I just didn't understand that. I mean, I understood Nate's position on it. There was no way he was going to find anything, and he probably would never successfully finish that challenge unless, you know, whatever. And I guess from his point of view, it was strategic because he gets out of it looking like a good guy to MC, because it's not like he said, let's go find it, and then immediately move the bag while she was in the woods.
Right. I thought that was going to happen. I thought that was a possibility, because I think Nate seems like the kind of guy who's on your side till he's not.
Yeah.
Which you have to be. You have to be in Survivor. I don't have... My only qualm with Nate is I feel like he's... I don't know, and maybe he's doing it strategically, but I feel like he's leaning way too hard into Savannah and giving her too much control. And maybe he's just waiting for the right time to pounce. But I think that he's like letting her take the charge.
I agree. My one final, I have two final thoughts about the journey thing. Number one, it makes me worried for MC down the road that perhaps she's going to get taken advantage of or miss an opportunity to be strategic or feel like she can trust Nate in the future and he might be the one who does her in. Like that sort of situation is what's going around in my head. The other thing is, like you said, when they came back to the tribe, I thought MC said they ran out of time.
She may have.
I think she may have intimated that there was some sort of opportunity for an advantage that they just didn't get. maybe I'm misremembering that, but Nate's story, which I heard all the way through, was so unbelievable. And when Jason was like, there was no opportunity for an advantage or there was no upside, he was like, no, I would never believe that. There's never been something like that. And I thought that might be something that led to Nate being called to the carpet later on, or, you know, after his performance in the challenge where he obviously didn't do very well. I thought, well, this might be it for him. Maybe they'll decide to turn on him because it lied obviously about the journey and now has failed in the challenge. And
nobody brought it up. Something I think is interesting this particular season is I feel like people are all strategy, no strength. So nobody is talking about, oh, we got to keep them because they're good at challenges. We got to keep them because they're strong. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's all strategy.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, and all alliance. And I wonder if it's because, I don't know, because there are people that are like even just by the, like, you can tell that they're definitively strong, physically stronger than the others, but it doesn't seem like they're like valuing that at all.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah, I didn't feel like there were that many strong people to begin with. But the ones that have been around, there's certainly been no mention of. And even when Kella was failing, nobody talked about, well, they have Jake and they have Alex, who should be strong players. Like
Sophie, it seems to be strong too. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like they care at all about that. It's all like alliance based, which is kind of a fun, different spin on things, which is interesting.
How did you feel about the chicken death?
I felt, I don't know. I wouldn't have wanted to kill a chicken, and I wouldn't have wanted to be around a chicken getting murdered. But also, like, I think if I hadn't eaten in 10 days, I would feel a lot differently about my statement. And the boys were like nice and calm and polite enough about it. But I mean, just do it. Just do it.
I have zero issues with the killing of the chicken for food or whatever. I was actually really proud of Steven and Alex for stepping up and doing that. I would have never guessed. Like, if you had to like stand all these people up and say, Mary, which one of them will kill the chicken? I would have been like, Sage, probably.
Yeah. And she was crying on the beach.
Yeah, I was shocked by that.
That was dramatic. When all the girls were huddled together around Sage crying on the beach. Okay.
Like, and then the stereotypical, like, some sort of prayer service over the chicken. Like, okay, get a grip.
Yeah.
Or do you pray over the meat section at Kroger? Because if you don't, then I don't need to see you praying over chicken on Survivor.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like it was, like, very over dramatized. I thought, okay, all right.
Yeah.
And if it's that big a deal, somebody should have. Everybody was like emotional about it, but nobody opposed to it. They were like, "Kill him, no! Yeah. Kill him, no!"
I'm trying to think. Is there anyone on this season who's like a vegetarian or vegan or anything? I feel like we've had that in the past, or somebody who can't eat something.
I don't think so. But when there are contestants like that, the show always makes a really big deal about like, oh, this person's vegetarian, or oh, this person's vegan. Who was it a few seasons ago? Liz, and then there was a man that was vegetarian. I can't remember who it was, but he won a challenge, and one of the advantages was lunch meat. I remember that. And being like, oh, heck. But he ate the bread.
There you go.
I can't remember who it was, but I thought that was funny because he won a bunch of lunch meat and wouldn't eat it. I think if I was on Survivor and I was a vegetarian, I think I'd take a break.
Yeah, for sure. I have loose food morals. I would definitely eat anything if I said I wasn't going to beforehand.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
All right, I'm just checking my notes here.
Well, let's talk about the deliberation before the tribal. I know we're kind of maybe getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but they had me... I think it was very obvious to everybody who watched episode 5 that it was between Juwan and Jason that were on the chopping block. And watching them kind of go back and forth and strategize and gameplay, and then watching them talk back and forth at Tribal Council before they voted, I really, truly thought it was going to be Juwan. And I'm sure it was shot in a way and presented in a way that made it look like that. But the fact that it was very clearly everybody was on the same page, it was Jason and the end, I was shocked.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was a great performance was done by all to convince us that it was going to be somebody other than Jason. I'm still not convinced that Juwan won't be the first person Savannah goes after maybe even next time if there's not a murder.
I hope next episode he's like using your toothbrush or wearing your socks or like
wearing her clothes.
Yeah, at this point, lean in. Because you're the bad guy regardless. You might as well be the bad guy.
Did you hear the someone said something like water bottle bandit?
Yeah. Whatever.
Jake is probably spinning in his watch party when he hears that.
That somebody else gets to be the bandit. Mm-hmm. Why do you think Jason voted for Rizgog?
I don't know. I cannot figure that out. I don't recall there being any animosity between them ever or any discussion at any point in time. I almost just feel like Jason was like, who's the person I don't like? Who's the person who annoys me the most? It's Rizgog, so that's what I'm voting for, because maybe he saw the writing on the wall that everyone was just kind of lying to him.
Well, and this takes it back to our last episode is why, and we know the answer, like logistically why, but why are people not playing their shot in the dark challenge? He had to have known.
Yeah. And I guess maybe that's why Savannah went so hard with him to like try to convince him that she was going to vote for Juwan and that she could use him. But it's funny to me because the first day that Jason was with Savannah and all of them, he was like, I'm a good person to keep around because I have a connection with Hina. I can make sure that they don't vote for you when we merge, which we said at the time is not a good strategy. It's not something that's going to convince anyone to take any action to save you. It just proves that you're going to continue to work with your tribe. But she kind of brought that up again this time, like, you are the only one who has a connection with Hina, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I just can't help but think if I was Jason, that would seem like a red flag because I've already tried to have that conversation with you and you didn't accept it.
I think that went like over his head like this. He was
got
like,
lost in his hair.
Yeah, well, I think he's the same as Christina. He's like, tell me what to say and I'll say it. So she fed him that and was like, okay, here you go. Here's your line. Go tell that to everybody. And then he did. He turned around and just verbatim spit that information out. And she was sitting behind the scenes like, so maybe she is a little bit more, or maybe she's just good at reading people who are not going to be strong. I thought for sure Jason and Juwan were going to band together and figure out something.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about that you brought up is at Tribal, Juwan lets it be known that he knows he's at the bottom, or he has like some sort of inclination or inkling or whatever that he's at the bottom. If you know that you're at the bottom, you've had two people now that you could work with to try to get somebody strong out. Why would you not take that opportunity?
He just must be praying for the merge. Do you think the merge is going to be next episode?
Everybody seems to think that's what's going to happen. I feel like it might be a little too soon, but
I'd like to see one more.
Yeah.
I'd like to see one more. I do feel sorry for Sophie. Bless her heart. She, we were talking during the episode, she must be the bad luck charm, and I don't know why people aren't like, get out of here. Like, we haven't eaten in days, you are the problem. I think she's great. I love watching her. I think she's got a great personality. I think she's a good people connector. I think she's smart being kind of laying low until it's time. But girlfriend has not eaten. Girlfriend has not had fire. Girlfriend has not slept comfortably this entire time. She didn't have shoes.
Imagine that for like 5 seconds. What it would be like to go, 8, 9, 10 days without eating, without being anywhere comfortable with somebody else's shoes on. Like what? And then just watching everybody around you get taken away.
And then your body's just like dwindling, hard. So your chances of getting something is lower and lower and lower. I couldn't imagine. One thing I noticed this episode that Jeff said was, this is the hottest episode that, like one of the hottest that's ever been. 2 things. Nobody's sweating. And 2, everybody has sweaters and coats and things on at nighttime. So it's interesting to me. I wonder what time of year it is. And is it truly one of the hottest, or is that just something Daddy said?
I thought you said Daddy.
Daddy said.
Daddy Jeff.
That's why. I'm like Juwan calling him Uncle Jeff. I'm just going to call him Daddy. Is it really that hot, Daddy? We're delusional.
I haven't eaten in 6 hours. I don't know. I feel like it does appear that it's very hot because I think everybody is sweating. Like
I've not seen sweat.
There is more acne on this season than I've ever seen. And I tend to get more acne when it's like really hot and I'm sweaty.
Maybe.
So,
maybe Daddy's right.
Speaking of, was it Shannon telling Sage how good her skin looked?
Yeah.
If you're not the biggest freaking liar. No offense, Sage, but like everybody on this season has hella acne. So
yeah. I want to talk about something we can't forget this episode is Sage's like rage faces when the camera pans to her every time she talks to Shannon. It's fabulous. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think Shannon has any idea.
And that's a great place to be. There's not a fear of a reflection showing you what somebody's really looking like.
Yeah.
It's good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's funny. And I'm curious. I mean, at this point, they're all doing it. They're all being nice to Savannah or Shannon's face and then talking about her behind her back. But it's interesting. Will be interesting to see if Shannon ever picks up on it, particularly from Sage.
Do you think the obvious leaders are on both tribes?
Well, I hate to say it, but Savannah's the obvious leader on Hina. Kella?
I think Alex.
I don't know. I feel like it'd be
And
more
maybe
Steven.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I could see Steven.
I think Steven... I don't think it's as obvious of a person there because I don't think there needs to be. Like, they're not losing.
Yeah, they don't have any pressure.
So they're not going anywhere. So there's no reason for people to start, like, forming factions and, like, getting people out. I think that leadership on that tribe comes more from, like, who has the most people that are coming to them or that they can talk to. And I think Steven and MC obviously are tight. I think we know that Sage is kind of wrapped up in that. Christina seems like a follower. Shannon's just out on her own, in her own little world.
I'll be interested at the merge to see
Sophie asks, like, who the fuck is she?
I'm not sure what. I'm not sure Sophie
What if she was the leader the whole time?
No, I don't think Sophie has. No, she's playing Survivor. I'll be curious when the merge does happen to see if the leaders from each tribe unite or if they try to pick each other off. I hope they pick each other off.
Yeah, I want it to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm afraid. Okay, I love MC so much. I think she's strong, brave, wonderful, lovely, beautiful, all the things. But I'm afraid she's passive.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for her to like say, no, stop right there. I've got a plan and like help direct or drive something. Because I'm rooting for her hardcore.
Yeah. We're all rooting for you.
Yeah.
I agree. And I do fear she seems to be a person who maybe is there just for experiences and not for strategy and winning. And that does make me nervous. However, she has a couple of times mentioned like what her game style is, or, you know, I think even tonight she said that somebody was sort of playing how she would play. Maybe it's Shannon, like similar strategies or whatever. So maybe we just, again, haven't needed to see what her strategy is, so we're not. But I agree, from the few things that we've seen, it's making me nervous for my girl.
Do you think it's this is an interesting question I just came up with. Do you think that is an advantage that Sophie has, that she has so much experience in and around losing and going to tribal and strategizing and gameplay right before tribal? Because some of the other players haven't been, period, at all.
I think yes, to some extent, because she probably at this point is good at, for example, this is a made up thing that may or may not be happening, but she and Savannah seem at least pretend close.
Yeah.
I don't know if they really are in this game. So she sees how Savannah is working other people. She sees what Savannah is saying to the people that she then votes out. And she could see that same stuff with Nate and how he's interacting with Juwan. So as the person who's an extra number for this other group, she's kind of seeing a lot of the inside play, and then also how they're interacting with the people that they're about to essentially blindside. So I think that would be an advantage for her. Now, I think there's an equal amount of disadvantage when in terms of like emotional well-being to be the person who's always going, but at least it seems only one time has she really ever had a threat of potentially being voted out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just interesting to me that she keeps going to tribal and her name's never on the chopping block
I
hardly.
agree. And it's never even, like, no one ever even considers her, it seems. It's always these other two people's names are coming up.
Well, maybe it's because she's sitting in the corner of camp, just like malnourished, struggling to survive. And then she pokes her head up and goes to tribal council and goes back.
Yeah. What do we think? We're talking about strategizing and, you know, it was interesting to me tonight to see Nate question, like, when Savannah says, hey, what about Juwan, Nate immediately feeds into, like, yeah, questioning, he's the most likely to flip, questioning loyalty. I don't understand where that comes from, because he literally told them right away when it seemed like Matt was trying to get Savannah out, because Matt saw that she's a threat, and he immediately ran and told them. So that's one, you know, vote of confidence for him. And then the other thing is him choosing the tribe advantage when he had the opportunity at the journey instead of taking something for himself. So what am I missing? Like, when has he ever shown that he wasn't loyal?
Well, no, I think Nate is like alpha, and I think he's trying to keep himself off the chopping block. So I think that's why he's probably shining a lot. And like, and everybody's probably a little bit paranoid, and everybody's probably a little bit like watching behind their backs. So I can imagine like building a narrative up in your own head that may or may not be true. And even if it's not true and you know it's not true, if somebody else is buying it, I'll say it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'll say it. If everybody thinks you're a liar, you're a liar.
That's true.
So maybe that's what's going on. I feel sorry for Juwan, because I feel like he hasn't been given the opportunity to like play. Partly to his fault, and partly to not his fault. Because I think when he thinks he has something, he runs and like hands it to somebody, and they're like, they turn around and they get all the credit for it when he's truly the one who like was responsible for it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll be interested to see if he ever. We have a couple people really like this. People who are just kind of going with the flow and being puppets. Like, will they ever realize what's happening and take a stand and make a play? That will be interesting to me. Or will this be like a stereotypical, here are the four strong people, and when we go into the merge, then they figure out how to take each other out and then pick off all the people that help them get there.
I hate to say this, but I think that's what's going to happen. Because everything's been very like clear and definitive. The people that have been strong leaders since the beginning have stayed strong leaders. The people that have been on the bottom have stayed on the bottom. Sophie S has been somewhere.
She's for sure
but
there.
I think that this season is much like her personality, non-existent. No, I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure she's fine.
Yeah, just, you know what? I'm going to assume that she's a great person and has a great personality, and just the edits are not in her favor. But man, would I be pissed if I worked that hard to get on Survivor and spent all that time there. Even, I mean, we're at, I don't even know what day we're at now by the time this last tribal council is over.
11, 12, something.
That many days there, and to have like zero impact on the game whatsoever. Because she hasn't been to a tribal council.
Mm-mm.
She hasn't had but maybe a couple confessionals. There's been no like dramatic moment. I don't even know what her sob story is.
No, we need her sob story. She was, you know.
Maybe she doesn't have one, and this is a lesson to all of us. You better go on that show with a sob story.
Yep. Apply with a sob story.
Right.
That's the only solution.
Okay, what else do we have here? We still have not seen a shot in the dark be played.
Yeah.
And I don't
the reason I think we're so up in arms about it is every time they go to tribal council, it's clear. It is clear between one or two people. And it's never been like, oh, this is totally unpredictable. We don't know what to happen. I mean, they gotta know.
Yeah. And I think you can say, you being the general public who has said that it's obvious why they don't play it, that it's because people are lying to them or whatever. But here's the thing. People voted for Jason at the last tribal council, and it's this group of people who he knows are working together. So what does that tell you? It tells you that he was going to go if Matt played a shot in the dark and it was safe, or vice versa. You know, like one of them was going to go, and it didn't matter what anybody told him to his face. He was under consideration. So it's like fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you.
Yeah.
Or the other way around.
Well, it's like, why? What?
Shame on you, shame on me.
Not even trying.
Yeah.
I don't understand, and I'm not going to understand. Specifically, that's a great point in Jason's case where you got votes last travel. Everybody's been very clear. Even before they went to vote, you said, yeah, I know I'm on the chopping block. Why wouldn't you play it?
And, you know, some people have said that it shows a weakness, or like it's not strategical or whatever to play it. It makes you look bad, whatever. Like, what do you have it for then?
And if the merge is going to be next episode, who cares? Because I feel like anytime there's a tribe shakeup or a merge or a swap or anything like that, everything that you worked hard to build and go out the window.
Right.
Out the window.
And you can always use that, like, okay, say he played the shot in the dark. He makes it to the merge and he goes far in the game and he's in the final 3 and he's talking to the jury. Use that as an advantage. Be like, look, I was smart enough to be able to read through what everybody was, or see through what everybody was saying and know that they were going to vote for me. I needed to take a chance to stay in this game, and I did, and it was the right move. And then I used my like ability to stay in this game as a way to turn things around and, you know, get an alliance or whatever. You know, why is that a negative? I don't understand.
No, if anything, I agree with you. It would be a positive. I don't know. The answer to your question is I don't know why they're not playing the shot in the darks.
I just want to be like, why do we have them? And, you know, I'll be honest, I didn't know until maybe 2 seasons ago that everybody got a shot in the dark, because it's been played so little that I always assumed I'd like missed something and that somebody had found it or whatever. Like, why do we have them if people aren't going to use them?
Yeah. Well, and seasons prior, even this early on, I know we're still early, but 5 episodes in, I mean, that's pretty beefy. Nobody's trying to make fake idols. Nobody. Is MC even looking for her Beware advantage?
I think she can't until she has to go to tribal council.
Oh.
So there has to be a loss, and then between the loss and the challenge and the tribal council is when she has to find.
Oh, I was afraid she was going to forget it.
But it is interesting, to your point, that there's not been a lot of action.
Creativity.
People have done last second, oh, please come and talk to me. Let's do this. Here's a good idea. But we haven't seen any like exciting, imaginative.
Yeah.
attempts.
And something else is I don't think that there are alliances, but I don't think there are like thick as thieves alliances yet. And maybe it's because we're not there yet, but I feel like everything is so loose and so
particularly with Hina, I think.
Yeah.
Or no, Kella. Sorry.
Yeah, Kella. Because Kella's the one that, like, you don't know who they are until they get some pressure, and they've not had pressure.
Right.
Alex did early on, but outside of that, nobody else is. They don't know. They're not playing Survivor yet. They're just playing.
Do you think that the Uli versus Hina thing will just be the theme of this until toward the end, when people realize Alex and Sophie are still there and maybe need to...
That might work to their
on that?
advantage, maybe.
Or will somebody eventually be like, hey, these 2 people need to go?
I feel like they're very much, both of them, flying under the radar.
I agree.
At this point. And I think they're both big threats. And I think they're both... Oh, I can't wait for the merge to happen and them to team back up. Because I think that'll be... Well, they need to make it less obvious when they do.
Who would you want to see them working with? Or who do you think they'd be successful working with when they merge?
need underdogs, in my opinion. So, if Jawan's still there, I think Jawan would be great.
But do you think he would ever flip on Savannah
Yes.
and Nate?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if he felt any sense of security, he's gone. Because he doesn't have any security right now. He's just sitting around waiting for them to tell him when to leave.
That's a good point. That might be why he's not been taking advantage of any opportunities with other people's, because he's like, I have a sure thing right here for at least this vote.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see Jawan. I could see... I want to say Sage. But they need one more, really.
I definitely think Sage, because I think she's doing the right thing by being very involved with the Hina people on her tribe and, you know, making it clear that she's loyal to them and whatever. But I think she's smart enough to know that that's not going to get her very far, especially when they're all back together. And then you're going to have, well, I guess there's no more Hina on the other tribe, but their numbers are still strong. So I think Sage is a good opportunity. I hate to say it, but I mean, they might have to bring Shannon in.
It'll be interesting
Just
to
for
Shannon
a
and Sage
number.
work together. Yeah, I could see that. I think Christina's a dud. I think Sophie's a dud. But those two types of people, Christina and Sophie, they seem to go far because nobody has any reason to let them go.
But I feel like that's what happens is toward the, you know, the further they go, they build up in their head that they've done all these things that they've not done, and they've been not strategic and not involved in gameplay at all. And then they might be someone that gets dragged to the final 3 but gets no votes because they've really done nothing.
I hate when that happens. I want it to be 3 strong players in the final 3.
Hot take, I want it to be back to just 2. I think 2 people make it to the end and that's it, because it's always going to be 2 people that work together and could both argue that they strategized. Or
When the merge happens, that means that's when the jury starts, correct?
correct.
I-
Or they've been doing like a double elimination basically, where they merge and then one person is the first person voted out. So they'll do like 2 tribal councils, and that person doesn't make it to the merged tribe or the jury. And then the other person being like the first merge.
So how many people are
vote
in the
out
jury?
will
6?
go.
8. I have a dream jury in my head.
Who is it?
Sage,
No,
Shannon.
it's changed to that. Okay, guys.
My dream jury is Sage, Shannon, Nate. Sage, Shannon, Nate. Jawan, he would be Mr. Personality. Riz God, yes, put him in that jury. I think he would.
He would have good questions.
Yeah, and bring the flair, bring the personality, and whatnot.
He'd be the one I'd be most interested in seeing what he wears to the
Yes,
jury.
yeah,
Because I feel like it could
yeah.
be real wild card stuff.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, is what different people wear after they're on Survivor and then they come back to the jury. And that way you get to see like their style and their personality and how they do their hair and what their makeup looks like and what jewelry they choose to wear. And it's super fun to see them like in their street clothes on TV. I think that's everybody. I think the top 3 are going to be Sophie, Alex, and Savannah. Is that too obvious? That feels too obvious.
I think Savannah is an obvious choice for the end. I don't know if I could pick others at this point. I'm not sure if they've highlighted Riz God because of his personality and him just like, bringing in the viewers, or if he actually makes it. I think we kind of know that he's going to be in, spoiler alert, 50. And that could just be a personality draw. Like, people want to see more of him, and they knew that he would be, popular and at least a wild card personality. But I could see him getting to the end as well, maybe. Just because he's a goofball, maybe people wouldn't really see him as a threat. I don't know. I almost feel like it'll be Savannah, Nate.
I don't want it to be Nate.
I don't either, but I could see Savannah bringing him along and him trying to...
Meat Shield. She's wanted to Meat Shield since before the season started. He's an awfully skinny Meat Shield.
I don't know who my 3 are at this point. I think Sophie has a chance.
Steven.
Oh, yeah. Definitely Steven has a chance.
Yeah, we'll see. There are a few people. I can't stand it when they just bring on stragglers because they're not aggressive or offensive by any means, and they kind of use them as like a layer of protection. I'm like, come on.
I find it interesting that we're both convinced Savannah would be in the final 3 when she's on a losing tribe. Although, she's not going to get voted out by those people for sure.
No.
So.
Well, and I think if they thought about it, she'd push her up against the tree and be like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
I'm a reporter.
Did you catch, I'm sure this isn't going to happen, but did you catch in the preview for next week, Jeff says at some point, new tribe, new challenge.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Don't
Do we
know.
think that it's going to be the merge, or do we think that they'll once again shake the tribes up?
Shake them up. That's what I
I'd
hope.
love to see it.
I hope they shake them up for a couple more episodes and then do the merge. Because we can all agree, everybody watching this, me and you both, can agree that it's been sleepy and it's been slow. And they've been
watching the same tribes lose over and over again,
Yes.
even after a shake-up is
And there's
boring.
so much attention and time spent on, like, nobody cares about the chicken. Like, nobody cares about the chicken. or multiple other things that nobody cares about that they spend a lot of time on. They keep doing cameos of snakes. Like, we get it. Let the snake thing end. So I'm ready for some action.
Yeah.
And we asked about that on our TikTok. We said, okay, everybody, what do you think? We've had a lot of feedback that said this episode's slow and sleepy, or the season is slow and sleepy. What do you think needs to happen in order to kind of revitalize Survivor for season 50? And a lot of people said to get rid of Jeff, and I'm heartbroken by that suggestion because I love him.
Wouldn't that be the shakeup of the century? It's like, next episode, they're like, and Jeff Probst is no longer the host.
I love him. I don't think it's his fault.
No. I mean, I think there's some argument for him having made some creative changes that have slowed the show or like made it harder. You know, our biggest complaint is that we have tribes, we don't even know who these people are, and that's because we have 3 tribes, and there's always a dead tribe ever since we've started the 3. Like, should we get rid of that? And he seems to be so against going back to 2 tribes, which is frustrating. Or, you know, like, I keep bringing this up, that I love the villain era. I love to see a villain on Survivor.
Yeah.
I think that's a really positive thing, but he's like, no more villains. We don't like the villains, whatever.
I think Savannah's a villain.
I think she wants to be a villain. I don't know if I still feel like she's super... somebody's going to be like, how much does she have to do to prove to you that she's a successful strategical player? I just am still not sold. I still am not sold. I feel like she's just loud.
Yeah.
And it's not... This isn't Parvati.
Yeah.
It's just some person who's like abrasive.
Yeah. I'm so excited for individual challenges, because if the individual challenges are physical and not puzzles, there are obvious winners. If the challenges are puzzles, it's going to be a 72-hour long episode.
Well, yeah, because Jason's gone.
Yeah, he's the only person who can do puzzles.
That's a good... Now bring back the puzzles.
Yeah, right. He's the only person that can do puzzles. That's it. I mean, everybody else is just flailing.
Yeah.
When it came to puzzles. So the individual challenges, I think that'll be super interesting to see.
Yeah. I feel like we've had so many opportunities in this season for something fun to happen that just never landed. Like, somebody didn't take advantage of an opportunity to do something that could be fun and a shake up. Like, even just the journey tonight, where MC or Nate could
nobody
have
took
done
a risk.
something.
Yeah.
When Nate first said that he was gonna tell MC that the time was almost out to just make it over, I thought he's gonna knock that thing over, or shit, just turn it back around on the other side so that the time looks like it's way less, because apparently they had 5 hours to move these sandbags.
Yeah.
And then nothing. And then nothing comes of the lie. There's no
too much kumbaya. Like,
Yeah.
I agree. There needs to be more risk taking. There needs to be more chances taken, because everybody is like, oh, you, like Riz God, that's a great example. He got the beware advantage, and his whole tribe went and like solved the whole puzzle for him. No, like, I know he's on your team and you want your team to do well, but you don't want him to have it's an individual advantage. It doesn't benefit you, but everybody's so like kumbaya that they're convinced that, oh, if he has an advantage, we have an advantage.
Right.
No, that's not the reality.
Yeah, I think that's probably like the number one problem with the season is everybody's too nice. And even Savannah, who has a beef with everybody for the tiniest little thing that then she forgets about, she's still nice. Like, in Tribal, she's still patting Juwan on the back like, it's okay, buddy, you're good. Like, no.
Yeah.
Push him over. Like,
yeah. Well, and she'd been talking shit the whole episode, and then was like, "Aw." And
poor guy.
But the thing is he's gonna turn around and be like, "What do I need to do next, Mom?" Like, that's what it feels like with him. Hopefully, I do feel like he's getting it, like, growing into himself and getting a little bit more confidence and getting some more personality. So hopefully he'll get comfortable and decide, like, hey, I can do things too. I can make alliances too. I have power in the game too, which is all true. If you're there, you've got some power.
Yeah. I find it very interesting. You know, talking about Juwan, he and Nate could have worked with Matt and Jason, just immediately been like, 4 dudes, let's just do this and get rid of Savannah, you know, get rid of Sophie, move on, because it seems obvious that Sophie's like at least if you don't want to call her leader,
she's like
a strong-willed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Savannah. She's like a strong-willed person, whatever, and then like it's easy to get rid of Sophie. I'm very glad that didn't happen, but that was an opportunity that was missed. I don't know. And I don't understand the allegiance to an original tribe when that tribe doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And you never had to go to tribal council, so you never really like had to prove any loyalty to each other. So why are we so invested in that tribe now? I do not understand that.
I think that's a great point. I think maybe Shannon should wake somebody up in the middle of the night and say that.
Let's do 2, 2, and 2 so that we can guarantee when we go into the merge we have no numbers.
Yeah, it'll be great. And Stephen was like, yeah, okay. It's like when my kid wakes me up in the middle of the night and tells me they have to go to the bathroom. Just go. Okay? Okay.
The strength in numbers, Mom.
No. Okay, well, thanks for watching. And we'll catch you next time on episode 6.
Yay, bye.